So that sounds a little bit different than the way other colleges teach computer science.
It is. It's not a computer science program. We have a lot of software engineers who know how data structures work. That's not the hard part. We don't have a lot of people coming out of a traditional computer science program who are trained to design for people, to work with people on teams, especially teams across multiple disciplines, to take their ideas and communicate about them. I've seen a lot of engineers who are very technically capable, who have a hard time making impact in a company or outside of a company just because they can't explain the value proposition of what they want to do. They can't communicate about those ideas in a way that brings people in a way that marshals the resources that you need to make things happen. So a lot of the curriculum here is about both the design part of an engineering project and then again getting the ideas out of the lab and out into the world.
And how do you prepare our students for all of that in 4 years here?
So you have to make some cuts. You have to decide what to cover and what you can leave out. And the way to decide that is to look at where students are going and what they're gonna do, what they need to know. Part of that, I think, comes from having faculty who have industry experience, so they'll know the topics that keep coming up in practice and other things that are really irrelevant to practice. We also get a lot of feedback from students when they go and they do internships. We hear from them about what are the skills, what's the knowledge that they applied immediately, and sometimes what are the things that just don't come up.
Great, thank you. Speaking of that, I understand that we have classes that are taught by students. Can you tell us more about that?
Right. I think that's an example where the students from internships and other experiences, they're learning a lot about particular tools, about software engineering practice, and often they're seeing things that aren't in our curriculum. So they'll come back and they've got that knowledge that they can share with their peers. And they do that within classes, often when they're working on projects, but they're also doing that with student-led classes where they're really designing a curriculum and delivering that to their peers.
And students get credit for those classes?
The students get credit if they're taking the class, and then the students who are teaching the class are also getting credit for that pedagogy practicum that they're doing.
That's great. So, Alan, what would you say the future looks like for computing here at Olin?
Well, maybe speaking for myself,
Sure.
Some of the projects that I'm interested in are taking computation and applying it everywhere to the rest of the engineering curriculum and even more broadly. So taking some of the things that traditionally have been taught from a mathematical point of view, you can add computation to that. And maybe you can take two approaches to it. Sometimes you can replace some of the mathematics with computation. And that does two things. It gives you a different approach to that topic, but it also gives you tools for working with that in a much more concrete way, in a way that's often very applicable to practice, applicable to applications of those topics.
Wonderful. We get a lot of questions about this, so I appreciate your taking some time today to talk more about what software is like here at Olin.
Sure, happy to do it. Thank you.